Hey skiers, it's Bob with SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2026 ski test. We've got a DPS Carbon Wailer 100 for you today. This ski returns unchanged from last year when it was new. So same shape, construction, profile, graphics. Returns for another year, and I could not be happier. This ski is right in my zone, right in my wheelhouse. Carbon powered, nice and sturdy wood core, short turn radius, and just a lot of fun overall. We got on this thing this past year, had a great day, you know, kind of deeper snow up top and then less as you got down to the bottom. So you could really get the entirety of the soft snow experience from skiing in the woods in really deep snow to opening it up on packed powder groomers at the bottom. The Carbon Wailer 100 just eats that stuff up. It's an incredible floater for the width, and then it just is a really engaging and fun-loving carving ski. You know, we're not usually assigning carving to a 100mm underfoot ski with no metal, but this ski does it. They do it through innovative shaping and construction techniques. It is built with a full poplar wood core, and then we get carbon stringers on top and on bottom of that wood core, so it's their hybrid carbon construction. And it's interesting because they really, you know, last year when the ski came out, it almost seemed like a step back because they weren't using two full layers of carbon. But now, second year in, it's starting to make a lot more sense, not just from, you know, a pricing standpoint, but also from, you know, an energy standpoint and an overall snow feel. You know, it's not nearly as responsive as the full carbon construction that we see in Pisteworks or Kaizen, and that's probably a good thing for a lot of skiers because that full carbon construction can almost feel too reactive and too precise. And we've talked about that with the Head Core series of skis over the years, that it's not quite as intuitive as some other skis with a wood core, partial metal, stuff like that. Kind of more traditional constructions. So this, you know, in an interesting way, almost seems like it's more of a traditional ski than it was in the past with full carbon. And I think that it really helps more skiers kind of get into what a DPS ski is all about and how it kind of works with carbon and with the shaping to create a very unique and specific effect. But yeah, we get that poplar, we get the carbon. This is the 189, so we're going to see a little bit of a different weight than some of the shorter skis. You know, it's pretty long, 2,050 grams here in the 189. And then we get some pretty good stiff flex to it as well. You know, when you get a ski this long, it ends up being a little bit more flexible than a shorter length. So, you know, the fact that it takes a little bit of muscle to get that thing to bend really kind of, you know, speaks to the sturdiness and strength of this ski. It does feel pretty substantial on your feet. No issues with that at all. Some nice light swing weight at the ends. And that's kind of where the shaping comes in. So DPS calls it their rocker shaping, and that is when their skis generate a 15-meter turn radius regardless of length. So cramming a 15-meter turn radius into a 100mm ski that's 189 centimeters in length is no small feat of engineering. So what they have to do is creatively shape and profile the ski in order to get that middle of the ski to adhere to that 15-meter arc. We do have some nice positive and stiff camber underfoot. But then when we look at the profile, this is where the interesting things start to happen. So the rocker starts well down into the ski, just a crazy amount of splay in the tips, and that goes along with the taper shape, which is brought, you know, almost as far down as that rocker starts, pretty close to the rocker and the taper lining up. And when that is super dramatic, then that allows them to start that side cut in the middle of the ski. The tail isn't as dramatic. It is a very long rocker, but it is relatively, you know, gentle in the bend. It's more of a straight or a flat kink to it than it is, you know, a dramatic curve like we saw on the tips. Not a lot of splay back here. but we do see that taper widest part is brought well down into the tail of the ski. So by having this long taper shape here, that creates a really smooth and easy turning base. So you can steer this thing in powder really well. I just remember being up top and skiing some tight trees on this ski and being pretty darn impressed at how well it handled tighter spaces and more technical terrain. Based on the shape and the profile, it really just allows you to steer the ski incredibly easy. So it's a lot of fun in those tighter spaces. It also makes powder skiing a lot easier to make controlled turns. You're not going to be able to straight line big mountain faces and be super aggressive on it, but for most people who are looking to make controlled powder turns, this shape works extremely well. And it's just a lot of fun, and you get a ton of energy out of it's dual carbon stringer laminate. There's still quite a bit of carbon. It's just not the full that full carbon layup that we've seen in the past. But lots of energy, a lot of pep out of this ski. Incredibly fun and rewarding. Just a prototypical DPS when it comes to punching above its level in terms of powder flotation. Decent carver, again, no one's kind of seeking this thing out over a frontside ski, but just a lot of lovely energy coming out of this ski on packed powder conditions. So that's it. Make sure to check out this DPS Carbon Wailer 100 here at SkiEssentials.com, and we will see you out there on the hill. Bye.